Hello everybody, this is Ryan here from PicPros Gaming, and today this is a quick review on my new gaming laptop which I've had for a couple of months now. It's the Asus ROG G703GX. The specs on this one are as followed. It's got the i7-8750H, which is clocked at 2.2 GHz and is advertised as turboing up to 4.1 GHz. I know they've now got a 9th generation which is advertised as clocking up to 4.5 GHz on turbo, and I know they've got an i9 as well, but I haven't tried one of them. I didn't think it was worth the extra money, personally. So it's also got 32GB of DDR4 2666 MHz RAM. It's advertised as coming with Windows 10 Pro. It's got a 512GB PCI Express M.2 SSD. It's a 1TB SSHD secondary. And it's got 2 spare M.2 PCI Express NVMe spare slots. It's got a 17.3 inch 1080p 144Hz display with 3 millisecond G-Sync. It's got two 12 volt fans, not 5 volt ones that you typically find in laptops. So they're very big, rather loud. They output air at the back and either side. So there's 4 outlets. It's got the AuraSync keyboard with changeable lights, and the bread and butter for this laptop is it's got an RTX 2080 8GB, which slightly overclocks on turbo mode to 2040 MHz. So it's advertised as Windows 10 Pro. Mine only came with Home. It didn't bother me at all, so I haven't done anything about that. It doesn't make any difference to me. It's also advertised as 4.1 GHz turbo speed for the processor. Mine only ever actually, during gameplay, goes up to about 3.9, as you'll see in benchmarks. So, out of the box, this laptop comes with the Asus Software Armoury Crate, which I had lots of problems with. First of all, it worked brilliantly, and then it updated. I lost the light functionality to the keyboard. I couldn't change keys individually. It was telling me the nvidia graphics card, when in power saving mode, was actually giving me power. So, we're not using it, it was giving it back, it was negatives. The fans would randomly rev up with it, and I still to this day don't know why that happened. It uses Intel's XTU, which can block undervolting on this laptop, so please research that if that's something you plan to do. So to resolve all of these things, I ended up doing a factory reset, updating it again, updating the Intel XTU and the nvidia driver separately. That fixed all that, other than the keyboard lights, which I found in a different place on the software, which is a link for that in the description if you're looking for it. So this laptop's got several different modes, turbo mode, blah blah blah. Balanced in turbo mode, basically the fans kick in slightly lower on turbo mode and they rev up a lot more, so it's a lot louder. Keeps it a bit cooler, and the GPU automatically overclocks to 2040 MHz, which is a nice little extra. You don't get that much more frames per second, but it's a nice little extra. It can make the difference between games running smooth and not. This laptop came with 2 chargers, which lots of people say don't need. When I played Quake RTX, I'll explain how you need the second charger, and that's just a prime example. I'm sure in the future we'll see lots of other games which will example why we need 2 chargers. So the temperatures on this laptop. One of the main selling points of this laptop is it's got the 2 big fans, quad outlets, and it's a very big machine. So the temperatures were hitting 99. Point blank, the CPU temperatures were hitting 99 out of the box. This wasn't a liquid metal machine. They didn't start that to the 9th generation, and I didn't know that when I bought it. So I've never done liquid metal, so I didn't want to risk it. I just used the Artic M4, so MX4 is what I used on it. When I repasted it, I did the CPU, the GPU, and all the vrms and memory banks, etc. around it. Obviously, I cleaned it all off first. If you repaste it, please, I recommend doing all of it. Don't just do the CPU and GPU like lots of people recommend, because it will, in the long run, make a difference. That helped the laptop quite a lot. The temperatures then, during games, peaked up to 88, 89, but averaged about 80, I'd say. So then, I still wanted to get it a bit lower if I could. I didn't want to go down the liquid metal route, so I limited the processor in Windows 10 power settings to 3.4 GHz, which I lost a couple of frames per second, but all the games are still more than playable. In fact, most games didn't even lose a couple of frames per second because most games aren't CPU based. So I've got a video in the link in the description to show you how to do that as well. That then made the laptop sit about 72 degrees. It would peak up to about 77. It hit 81 once for an hour gaming session, so that's a lot more of a comfortable temperature than previously was. So moving on from that, we'll go into the benchmarks. I've got lots of benchmarks. I've done a playlist for this laptop, so please feel free to check that out. The link for that's in the description. I done a Far Cry New Dawn one, as you can see on screen. That hit about 80, 82 as an average, which peaked up to 120 odd, 125 I think it was. So that's a very good result. And then I know the i9 gets a lot higher than that on Far Cry, but it is quite a CPU bound game. And Battlefield 5, I got an average of about 115, 120. It sat somewhere near that as an average. They don't have a benchmark tool, so again, I didn't know what the dead average was, but it was quite good. And then GTA 5, the average was near 95, I'd say. Again, they got a benchmark tool, but they don't give me the results. So Quake 2 RTX, as we're going to get into. Without RTX on, I'd just like to state it gets nearly 1000 frames per second, as you probably expected, because it can probably run on a smart fridge if you tried it. So with one charger, with RTX on, I averaged a setting of a result of about 20 frames per second. I think it's on screen now. Without any chargers, it was about 2. With one, it was about 20. With two, it was about 70 frames per second, as you can see on screen now. That's because the RTX in this game doesn't just do shadows and lighting like it does in other games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Battlefield. It runs the whole game. You can clearly see the difference. So, you know, although RTX is a thing, it's because it's quite new, it's still not that well optimized to run a whole game. But anyway, moving on from that, we'll go into the pros and the cons of this laptop. One of the cons is the fan noise. Even with me limiting the CPU and also the temperatures are lower so the fans don't kick in so much, it's still a headset laptop. You can't play a game on this for a long time without a headset. It gets loud quite quickly. But a pro to it would be that it's probably better optimized than other laptops with similar specs, because looking at benchmarks for this and other laptops before I bought this definitely gets better results than other laptops with a similar spec. Not by a lot, but by a little bit to make it comfortably. It's got easily upgradable hard drives because it's got those 2 spare M.2 NVMe PCI Express slots, which does come with a little guardian, a thermal pad, so they're cooled if you want it. It spreads the heat. You can also upgrade the RAM on this side very easily. Put both RAM sticks, because it's 2 16GB sticks on the opposite side. So it's a simple pop-off panel to upgrade that. The battery lasts rather well when you consider it's, you know, trying to run a big powerful laptop. It does limit games a lot, but if you're just going to use it for general usage every now and then, it's very good. It's got very good speakers for the laptop. Compared to other laptops, I found the GPU is very cool. That could be because it's got one of the CPU's heat pipes. It takes a heat pipe to the CPU fan. So that could be one of the features. And the CPU, as I said, it wasn't brilliant, but when you start to put good paste on, it's better than other laptops with good paste. This laptop was advertised as coming with an Xbox adapter, or on some websites it is. This one does not have it. On the motherboard, it's got Xbox written on it. You can see why it would be soldered on, but it's not on this model laptop. I had to buy a USB one separately to play an Xbox control with it. And the only final con I can really say about it was it had some coil whine. Every now and then when you boot up a game, especially Far Cry New Dawn, it's as if it's from the left of the mouse area. It's got a bit of a whine, but lots of new high-end computers have that. Normally you can't hear it over the fans, and I'll be honest, I put the laptop into silent mode. That's the only reason I could hear it, because the fans didn't spool up yet. Then the fans spooled up and I couldn't hear it. So overall, I would definitely recommend this laptop. This one I've got is actually an X display, but was never used. So that could be why I got Windows 10 Home. Now I'm thinking about it, but so I got this a bit cheaper. But if you can get one for a decent price, I would definitely recommend getting it. I know the Alienwares are having problems with their GPUs at the moment in the RTX. I know that MSIs are very nice machines, but I just found they were extra price for not that much better. But this laptop is very heavy and it's not really a portable machine. I mean, I can put it in the bag that came with it and take it up to a family members, but it's not something you'd want to take around with you every day. But anyway, that's all for this video, guys. If there's anything you'd like to talk to me about, or any recommendations or comments you got to make, please feel free to comment and put it in the description. If you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't, hit dislike. Hey, you're still getting a response. Thank you for watching. I'm Ryan, and this is Pick Bros Gaming.